Hey everybody, Joel Palmer from Vintage Fitness down here in the cavern once again. Going to show you some ideas on how to rehabilitate a hip flexor strain. Very common, see it in athletics a lot. The hip flexor is used for that hip drive. We use it a lot for jumping, running, cutting. So especially dynamic sports like basketball, soccer, things where you have to zigzag and make cuts. A lot of that explosiveness, like a basketball player going up for a rebound, a lot of that is hip flexor. Track athletes, obviously, all the running, a lot of hip flexor action in there. And sometimes it just gets either strained or overworked. Sometimes there's tendinitis type stuff developing in that hip flexor. So I'm going to show you a few things you can do at home. Simple. We don't need a lot of tools. You can makeshift with some things. I'll give you some ideas here in a second. But what we're going to try to do is approach this thing in 3 different phases. First, I'm going to show you how to do some simple strengthening, because a lot of times that hip flexor is weak, especially when it feels like in that groin. Very typical. Getting up out of a chair, or if you drop down into a deeper squat, it feels like it binds up and almost feels like there's something in there. Very classically, that's because there is some damage to that soft tissue. It's weak. It's now allowing the femur head to shift and move a little bit too much. So we've got to strengthen it to try to support the joint and try to get some good healing into that hip flexor so you can get back to normal function. So we're going to approach this thing in 3 phases. Strengthening exercises. Then I'm going to show you some simple stretches you can do to try to release some of that tension. And then I'm going to show you just a simple soft tissue release technique you can use at home. So first thing is the strengthening. We're going to start seated on the floor. This is called a seated over and back. I'm going to use my kettlebell as a target. You can use anything. You can put a medicine ball on the floor. You can use an empty pail. It doesn't matter. It's just an item to get over and back on. Okay, so we're going to place that right there. We're going to sit sort of with it between me. I'm going to start with my right leg, and I'm just going to go for 10 reps. We're going to go over and back, slow, controlled. This is not to be done fast. If you need to, you can support yourself on the floor with your hands, and simply put, we're going to pick the right leg up, move it over, touch the ground, pick it up, move it back, over and back. That's 1 rep. So here we go. Over, back is 2 reps. Over, back is 3 reps. You see, it's almost like an upside down U type of a pattern. If you feel like you're stronger and you don't need the floor support, you can try doing it unsupported. It's a little harder. Got to recruit a little more core musculature, low back musculature. But if you need to, you can do it here. In extreme cases, if you have to, you can back right up to an item, a wall, a bench, and use that for some support as well. And it'll work the same thing, okay? So what we'll do is we'll do 10 reps over and back. So again, 1 rep is over, back. That's 1 rep. I would, just for symmetry, even if you don't have problems on both sides, do the other as well. Fact is, if you've got weakness on one side, there's a very good possibility you got weakness on the other. So you might as well do them both. Okay? That's exercise number 1. 10 reps each leg. Move on to the next exercise. Okay? The next exercise, we're going to do something called a knee driver. And you will want something for a little support. I like my foam roller just because I like the height of it. You could use a kettlebell if you wanted to. A little taller might be better. You can turn a dumbbell on end if you want. But something just for balance. So we want to take the balance component out. I just want you to focus on the knee drive. So in this case, the leg we're working is this one. So the knee I'm on is just the support leg. I'm working the opposite leg. Take your supporter, put it somewhere near that kneeling knee, okay, that floored knee. So in this case, I'm on my right knee, left leg is what I'm working. We're just going to use this for some balance and support. What we want to do is 10 repetitions. I want you to drive the knee up, slow and controlled, not fast. Pause a second and then touch it back down. So we're just going to hit knee drive, down. That's 1 rep. Up, down, that's 2 reps. Up, down, that's 3 reps. 10 reps. Switch it up. Now we're doing the other side. 10 reps. Again, knee drive up, touch down. Up, that's 2. Up, that's 3. Bang. 10 reps each side, done. Move on to the next exercise. Next exercise, we're going to take what we're doing here and we're going to stand. Again, you're going to want something, a target. In the beginning, here's the catch. If your hip flex is really giving you trouble, you want to start with a low target, like maybe this kettlebell, okay? A low target. As you get stronger and the pain reduces, you want to go to a taller target, okay? So I'll show you on both just so you can see. So the lower target, this is now a standing over and back. So we're going to stand, we're going to work 10 reps on the right leg. So we're planted on the left. I want you to slowly raise up, cross it, touch, raise up, come back. So much like that first exercise, the seated over and back, but now we're standing. Athletes generally don't perform on their butt, they're on their feet. This is a great way to challenge a little more core activation, a little more balance, okay? In the beginning, you know, sometimes that hip flex will bind up, and so trying to get it high is difficult. So don't worry about it. Start with a low target. Whatever you have, it doesn't need to be a kettlebell. Lay a dumbbell on the floor, lay a block of wood on the floor. I don't care, just as long as it's a target to get up and over. So here's how we'll do it. We'll go over, back. That's 1 rep. Over, back. That's 2 reps, right? 10 on this side, and then we switch it. Over and back. Over, back. 10 on each leg, done. If you have the range of motion, if you have the capacity and you want to go higher, you can see, obviously this is quite a bit higher, right? Now you're trying to get up over a higher target. So again, same process though. Pick your foot up, over, back, over, back. We're not going fast. We're just trying to stay under control. Drive, plant, drive, plant, right? 10 reps each leg, move on, move on. Then the last strengthening exercise I'm going to give you requires a light, I'm going to use just a light mini band. This is from Perform Better Fitness. You can go to performbetter.com, and find these. You can also find these on Amazon, these little mini bands. Start with a light one. But basically what you're going to do is you're going to put your feet in the band, okay? And now you're going to do basically just a very simple standing knee drive without going up and over a target, just straight up. So I'm going to work my right leg. We're standing on the left. Boom, boom. Drive it, set it down. If you can pause a second, that's kind of what you want. Requires a little more balance, right? Drive, pause, and down. Drive, pause, down. And here we go, right? 1, 2, 3, right? 10, and then switch them out. 10 on the other side. 1, 2, 3, 10 each side. So you see how we did it. We did it sort of in a circuit fashion. 4 exercises, 10 reps each, boom. You can start there. Start there. If you're pretty fatigued, if it feels like you've worked that pretty well after those 4 exercises, call it a session there, move on. If it feels pretty easy, like you could probably go again, add a second circuit in there. And you can add as many circuits as you want. Start in the circuit fashion, 10 reps of everything, 1 exercise right after the other, then take like 30 seconds to a minute off. If you're going to add another circuit, then do so. Okay? So that's the strengthening phase. Next thing I want to show you is just some simple stretches. I'm only going to show you really 2 or 3 little things here. I think most people know these pretty well. Again, I like to have something. It's handy to have something, whether it's the foam roller or my kettlebell, just for some support and balance. You don't always need it, but it's good to have it around just in case you get wobbly. We're going to start with just a simple hip flexor stretch in that straddle position, which is very classic. So I'm stretching the back leg. So in this example, it's my right leg, and all you're going to do is get in this position and rock forward into it. You should feel that groin sort of pulling, right? And here's how I like to do this one. I like to do this one by 30-second intervals. I'll set the timer on my watch or my gym boss or my phone on repeat, and I'll set it for 30 seconds. I use this for my support. I'll rock into it, spend 30 seconds in that stretch position. Beep, beep, beep. The timer goes off. I like to push out. Now I like to pivot my back foot. And now we're going to spend 30 seconds just rocking in this position. Rocking. Okay? Beep, beep, beep. Timer goes off. I face straight ahead. Back into the hip flexor stretch again, that straddler's stretch. Beep, beep, beep. That 30-second interval's over. Pivot my back leg here, 90 degrees. And again, just staying upright and rocking. I'm rocking towards my front foot. You'll feel it in that groin. And just easy, not fast, not hard. It's rehab. It's not a contest. There you go. Beep, beep, beep. That leg is done. I go right into the other leg, right? Same thing. I hit that straddle stretch. Beep, beep, beep. I take that back leg. I'm going to pivot 90 degrees. Now my front knee is pointing right at the camera, and we rock toward that. Okay? And again, I would repeat that process twice on this side. Done with that stretch. So basically, you're doing like 2 minutes each side, and you're varying every 30 seconds. Okay? After that, if you want to do something a little deeper, there is the couch stretch. A lot of people refer to it as the couch stretch. And basically what you do with the couch stretch is you need a couch or a chair, an ottoman, a workout bench, whatever you have. Again, I like to keep my foam roller very handy for all this stuff. I like to keep my foam roller handy. You take the leg you're going to stretch here. I'll do my left, and we're going to put the foot right on the bench. Right on the bench. And now I'm in that position. And again, I can use the foam roller for balance. It also gives me a way to press back. Press back. I like to try to hold that for about 30 seconds, right? Then the timer will go off. I'll go right into the other leg. And we'll do 30 seconds on that one. There you go. And I like to go back and forth for a total of 2 minutes each leg. So you're going to do each leg 4 times. 30 seconds at a stretch. No pun intended. Actually, yeah, the pun was intended. So there you go. Those are some stretches you can do that are very helpful. I like to do this all as one workout. I'll do the strengthening, and then I hit the stretches, and then last but not least, I like to do the soft tissue release. So let's say I'm working on my right groin. For this one, a kettlebell is a great tool. If you don't have a kettlebell, you can use another item. Believe it or not, I use hammers a lot. You can take a hammer, don't use the claw end, you use the handle end. You take the handle end and you use it. So if you hunt around in there, you usually will find some pretty tender spots. All you want to do with the kettlebell, this is just a 12K, it's a smaller kettlebell, but we're going to take it and we're going to take that horn of the kettlebell, I'm going to set it right into that spot. I'm going to hunt around for those tender spots, and there they are, right? And just first, keep your leg sort of flexed here, so there's slack in the system, and just hunt around, and then just kind of wiggle. Just wiggle on that sore spot. And it's sore, yeah, it doesn't feel great. Then what we're going to do is we're going to just hold the kettlebell or the hammer, if you're using the end of a hammer, press into it, and now we're just going to wriggle around with the hip itself. I'll do some little circles, slide the leg in and out. This is what we call scrubbing. Just trying to break up any adhesions, trigger points, tight areas, fibrousy nastiness that builds in that muscle tissue. And you might have to hunt around. There might be more than one spot. Go easy. I'm not asking you to bruise yourself, so don't get too aggressive, but just spend maybe a minute or two hunting around and doing some of this soft tissue. Okay? Just like that. Beautiful. And then you're done, right? And then that's your rehab session for that particular injury. So again, the strengthening, do it as a circuit. If you feel like you can do more than one circuit, fine. Add an extra circuit if you want. Then spend a few minutes stretching each hip flexor out. You don't have to do both stretches. You can pick one if you like one better than another. Here's a little tip though. The ones that are most difficult for you to do are generally the ones you need to do the most. So just keep that in mind. And then spend 2, maybe 3 minutes doing a little soft tissue release on your hip flexors, either with kettlebell. You can use like I said, the end of a hammer. You could use something like a lacrosse ball, but I find it's because the lacrosse ball is smaller, it's harder to get that leverage. A hammer or the kettlebell just naturally works well because of the size of it, and with a kettlebell, the weight of the kettlebell alone does a lot of the work, so I don't have to spend a lot of time pressing. So there you go. That's how you can do that. I'm going to take just a little break because I'm going to set up for one final little thing I want to show you. We're going to do something called banded hip setting. If you're somebody who gets not only a lot of that groin pain, but oftentimes people will tell me they get clicking, popping, or it feels like things are grinding. A lot of times that's because the head of the femur is pushed too far forward into towards the groin, and also jamming up that ball and socket joint. So there's a simple way to do some hip setting, and if you do this regularly over time, it really makes a big difference. So give me a second. I'm just going to set up because it's a different shot. And okay, so this is the one I was talking about. I'm going to show you some banded hip setting. You see, I've got a fairly heavy-duty band. You want a pretty heavy one for this. So if you've got any bands around, this is the one you can get. If it's too light, it just won't be effective. So you want one that's fairly heavy. I've got mine attached to a secure unit behind me. Put it on something very secure because you're going to throw your body weight into it. Don't put it on the leg of a kitchen table. It's just going to come snapping at you. Tie it off on the bottom of a kettlebell rack, or if you've got a fixed post, you can put it on. Okay, or if you've ever seen my how to build a band station video, use it on, I like it on the middle setting, so you can use it on that. But in any event, we're using a heavy band. I've stepped through it like a stirrup. I pull it up really high into the crotch, okay? Because you want it to really pull that femur head. What we're trying to do is take that femur head and pull it back and pull it out of your groin. So here's how you do it. It's basically the same exercise as the original straddler stretch I showed you earlier, but now we've got a band attached to me. Okay, so I'm going to set my timer for 30 seconds. I'm going to get in that straddle position, and in this case I'm actually just going to kind of rock. I like to get that rocking motion. Stay down in that stretch position if you can, but kind of pulse it and rock it. Okay, then again you're going to hear that beeper of the timer. It's going to beep after 30 seconds. Come up, take the back leg, the one that's connected to the band, pivot 90 degrees, and now again we're rocking in this position. 30 seconds there. The beeper goes off. Boom. We go now back to that straddle position. Again, rocking it out. Beeper goes off. One more time, we pivot. And we rock in that position. 4 steps, right? So that's 2 full minutes. When you're done, I would just do the other side as well. This is called banded hip setting. I would do this at the very end. If you want, this could be your groin stretch. Okay, instead of doing the other one, you could do this instead and save yourself a little time. But do this at the very end. Do everything first. This should be last. And if you've got one bad hip, make the bad hip the last one you work. So it's the last thing you do for that bad hip. Okay? If you start doing this rehab 3 or 4 times a week, I know, sounds like a lot, but injuries take a lot of rehab, so you got to work it. 3 or 4 times a week, just work it, okay? Hopefully what you'll find is after 6 to 8 weeks, you're starting to feel a lot better, okay? So it does take time, but be patient and work it. I'm Joel, Vintage Fitness, down here in the cavern. Check back. Got some other videos coming out for you soon. Thanks. See you soon. Bye.